Hi, so this is how we can overcome fawning slowly, intentionally. Okay, this is definitely not an overnight thing. Okay, so Pete Walker, the guy who named fawning, I'm going to share an article that he wrote. I'm going to share the article from Dr. Ariella Schwartz that I was reading about in the last movie. And I'm also going to share an article about appeasement. Okay. All right, so Pete Walker talks about how we may have tried different trauma responses when we were very young and the consequences were much worse. So as a toddler, very few people think about running away whenever they're toddlers. I'm not saying they don't have the desire, but a toddler, how are they gonna get food? How are they gonna have shelter? So to you, that's not really an option, okay? Fighting back. Perhaps you did. Perhaps you said no, you threw a fit, you maybe even threw some fists, little tiny toddler fists. But, you got a spanking or worse. And so that's not really an option either. So flea's gone, fight's gone, and freezing doesn't really seem to do anything. So then you're doing this fawning. Okay, well, if I can just butter them up, compliment them, be very, very helpful, be the best kid that I can be, make life as easy on them as I can, life will go better for me. So that's whenever children are really made into little bitty adults. And it's not fair, because in reality that means that their parents are acting more like children. But, all right, so I'm gonna move on. Mr. Walker says that in order for someone to respond differently than fawning, they must be willing to face and sit with some fear and then try a different response. So we fawn because we're afraid of something. We're afraid of losing that connection. We're afraid of that person verbally hurting us, physically hurting us, perhaps sexually hurting us, or abandoning us. That's the whole losing that connection, abandoning us, not taking care of us, not giving us food, perhaps kicking us out of the house. So it's about survival and safety. And it comes from being afraid that we're not gonna have survival and safety. Okay, so in order to not fawn, in order to not ignore what we need and what we want and be nice to someone who is either hurting us or threatening to hurt us, then we have to be able to face that fear and sit with it. I want to note that what I'm saying about Mr. Walker, and what I'm going to later say about Dr. Ariel, these are done in counseling sessions. I'm not just saying this because I'm a counselor, I'm trying to advocate for counseling. I'm saying that work is done easier when it's not just you. It helps when somebody is coming from a calm place, guiding you through this. It really helps if they've already been there and they understand, but there's that. But you need somebody who's calm so that you can face this fear and they can help you lessen the fear some. And especially since fawning is done because of a relationship, we need healthy relationships to know that we can do these things. We can try these healthier responses and we're not going to get hurt. So I highly recommend that these things are done in relationship. Okay. All right, the next thing Mr. Walker says is someone who fawns needs to process the situation that brings fear, which first made them fawn. So yes, we will eventually get to the stuff that you're afraid of right now, but what was the first thing that you had to fawn in order to survive? Okay. And so Mr. Walker says, when the client remembers and feels how overpowered he was as a child, he can begin to realize that although he was truly too small and powerless to assert himself in the past, he is now in a much different, more potentially powerful situation. So as adults, we can have jobs, which can lead to getting our own food, getting our own place to stay. In the very least, we can go to food pantries, we can try getting food stamps. That's just for food, but we have a lot more power. As adults, we have the freedom to go to these different places to get these things that we didn't have as a kid. And we have to remind ourselves of that that we're not in the exact same situation where we truly do rely on this person to keep us alive. Now, we can do something to help us stay alive. Okay, I'm gonna start another video just because this one's getting long.